After 70, your body ages faster. Do these 5 things to slow it down. Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, I don't feel as old as I look? Or maybe you've noticed things that didn't used to happen. Your balance isn't quite what it used to be. Your energy dips faster, or your memory feels a little foggier than before. It's not just your imagination. After the age of 70, the body starts changing in ways that can feel subtle at first, but gradually add up year by year. And here's the thing nobody really tells you. These changes aren't just random. They follow a pattern. Every year after 70, the body loses a little more muscle, your bones might get a bit thinner, your immune system weakens, and even your brain starts to process things just a touch slower. But that doesn't mean it's all downhill from here. Not at all. In fact, knowing what is happening is the first step to slowing it down. Because with the right habits, the right movement, the right mindset, you can keep living with strength, independence, and purpose well into your 80s, 90s, and beyond. In this video, we're going to talk about what exactly happens to your body each year or after 70, and more importantly, what you can do starting today to push back against the clock. Not by trying to be 25 again, but by giving your body what it needs right now to keep going strong. Let's start with something that surprises a lot of people: your muscle mass. Most people think losing strength is just part of aging. But did you know that after 70, the average person loses up to 1% of their muscle mass every single year? That might not sound like a lot, but over 5 years, that adds up. And it doesn't just make it harder to lift things. It affects your balance, your walking speed, and even your ability to get out of a chair or climb stairs. There was a man I knew, Bill, who was 74. He'd always been active in his younger years, but figured slowing down was natural. One year he noticed he had trouble lifting groceries. The next, he started using the railing for stairs. Then he needed help getting out of bed some mornings. It didn't happen all at once, but it was steady, quiet, and if he hadn't stepped in to change things, it could have led to a loss of independence. But here's the good news. Muscle loss isn't just something you have to accept. It can be slowed down, even reversed, with simple, regular, strength-based movement. You don't need to go to a gym or lift heavy weights. Bodyweight exercises, light resistance bands, even holding water bottles while doing basic arm movements. These little efforts train your muscles to stay engaged. And when your muscles stay active, so does the rest of your body. You stand taller, you move with more confidence, you protect yourself from falls, and you feel like you again. Now let's talk about the second thing that happens every year after 70. Something even more invisible than muscle loss. Your metabolism slows down. You've probably noticed this already. You eat the same things, maybe even a little less than before, but somehow the weight creeps up, or worse, you start to feel tired or bloated more often. That's because your body is burning fewer calories at rest. It doesn't process sugar as efficiently. It takes longer to digest certain foods. And that sluggish feeling, that's your metabolism waving a little red flag. But this doesn't mean you have to give up all the foods you love. What it does mean is that your body needs different fuel now, smarter fuel. Imagine your body as a car that's been through a lot of road trips. It's still running, still strong, but it needs a bit more care to keep the engine humming. That means focusing on foods that give you energy without spiking your blood sugar. Think high-fiber veggies, lean proteins like chicken or lentils, healthy fats from avocados or olive oil, and cutting back on ultra-processed snacks that leave you feeling drained. One woman I spoke with, her name was Carol, used to have toast and jam every morning. Harmless, right? But she always crashed by 10 a.m. Then she switched to scrambled eggs, spinach, and half an avocado. She called me a week later and said, I didn't realize how foggy I'd been until it lifted. What you eat fuels every part of your body, including your brain. And after 70, making those small shifts can completely change how you feel every day. Sharper, steadier, and more in control. So now that we've covered muscle and metabolism, let's keep going. Because there's another change that sneaks in after 70, and most people don't notice it until something scary happens. It has to do with your balance and coordination. You might be thinking, well, I'm still pretty steady on my feet, and that's great, but balance doesn't usually disappear all at once. It fades gradually, like a dimmer switch turning down a little more each year. And one day that shows up as a stumble you didn't expect, or a moment of dizziness when you stand up too fast. The reason? A mix of things. Your muscles are a little weaker. Your vision might not be as sharp. Your inner ear, which helps with orientation, isn't as responsive. And your brain takes just a little longer to process where you are in space. But this is one of the easiest areas to improve with just a few minutes of focused practice a day. I once met a retired firefighter, Frank, who told me he practices standing on one foot while brushing his teeth. Simple, right? But powerful. Over time, that little daily habit helped him feel more grounded, more in control. He said he hadn't tripped in months. You don't need fancy equipment to train your balance. Try walking heel to toe across a room. Stand on one foot near a countertop. Do gentle yoga or Tai Chi. These small movements send signals to your brain and muscles, reminding them how to work together. And that kind of coordination, it keeps you independent. It keeps you safe. And it helps you move through life with a sense of calm and confidence. Now that we've looked at how muscle strength fades, how metabolism slows, and how balance quietly shifts, there's still more to uncover. Because after 70, your body isn't just changing physically. It's also adapting in ways that affect your heart, your memory, and even your immune system. And while that might sound scary, the truth is you have more power than you think. Let's keep going. Because if there's one organ working hard behind the scenes every single second of your life, it's your heart. And after 70, your heart quietly begins to shift in how it functions, beat by beat, year by year. You might not feel it immediately, but over time, changes in blood vessels and heart tissue can make your heart work harder to pump blood. Your arteries may stiffen a bit. Your resting heart rate may slow down. And if you've ever felt more winded going up the stairs than you did a few years ago, that could be part of it. But here's what's encouraging. You don't need to run marathons or lift weights to give your heart the support it needs. Just 20 to 30 minutes of light movement a day, brisk walking, gentle biking, even dancing around your living room, can keep your cardiovascular system strong and responsive. I once met a woman named Darlene. She was 76 and told me, with a little chuckle, I do laps in the mall, it's climate controlled, there's plenty of benches, and I treat myself to a T when I hit my step goal. That's the kind of creative thinking that keeps people young. She didn't let age or weather stop her. She adapted, and her doctor told her at her last checkup that her heart was in better shape than women 10 years younger. And beyond movement, your heart also benefits from calm. Chronic stress, which often builds up quietly over time, especially after retirement or after the loss of a loved one, puts real strain on your cardiovascular system. Meditation, prayer, time in nature, these aren't luxuries. They're heart medicine. Taking time to slow your breathing and focus your mind has been shown to lower blood pressure and reduce inflammation in the body, which brings us to something many people don't think about until it becomes a problem: your immune system. After 70, your immune system doesn't respond as quickly as it used to. It takes longer to fight off infections. Your body may not recognize viruses and bacteria as efficiently, and that's why even a minor cold can hit harder or take longer to recover from. But there are ways to strengthen your immunity that go far beyond just popping a multivitamin. One of the simplest and most overlooked immune boosters is sleep. Not just more sleep, but better sleep. Rest that's truly restorative. And unfortunately, as we age, getting a full night of deep, uninterrupted sleep becomes harder. Hormone changes, chronic aches, or even bathroom visits in the middle of the night can break that precious cycle of rest. I remember talking to a man named Harold, 79. He told me he hadn't slept more than 4 hours straight in years. He always chalked it up to aging. Old men don't sleep, right? But when he started limiting caffeine after 2 p.m., dimming his lights after dinner, and keeping a regular bedtime, even on weekends, his sleep started improving. He said, I thought I was just tired because I was getting old. Turns out I was just sleeping like a teenager who stays up too late. Good sleep helps your body heal, fight off illness, and keep your mind sharp, which leads us right into another subtle but significant change that happens each year after 70. You might notice it in little ways, walking into a room and forgetting why, losing track of a word mid-sentence, or misplacing your keys more often than you'd like. And while some memory changes are completely normal with age, others are signals your brain might need more support. The brain, like any muscle, needs to be used, and it thrives on variety and challenge. Doing the same crossword every day won't cut it. Instead, try learning a new skill, even something small like a new recipe or a different walking route. Challenge your brain with novelty. That keeps it active, engaged, and forming new connections. There's a gentleman I know, Ted, who picked up painting at 80. I was terrible at first, he laughed. Still am if I'm honest, but it gives me something new to figure out every day. He said he feels sharper, more curious, and more confident than he did 5 years ago. And don't forget about social connection. It's not just good for your heart. It's brain fuel. Conversation, laughter, storytelling, even a good argument now and then, these all stimulate different parts of your brain. Isolation, on the other hand, is one of the most dangerous things for memory. That's why making an effort to stay connected through a club, a phone call, or a weekly lunch can make a world of difference. And just like your body, your mind thrives with the right fuel. Foods rich in omega-3s, berries, leafy greens, these nourish your brain. Stay hydrated. Limit processed sugars. These small steps add up to a mind that feels sharper, calmer, and more in tune with the world around you. Now that we've explored how your heart changes, how your immune system shifts, how your brain processes differently, you might be wondering, can all of this really be slowed down? And the answer is yes, not stopped, but slowed, softened, made easier, because aging isn't about fighting change. It's about responding to it with awareness, with action, and with care. There's one more piece of this puzzle left, and it may just be the most important factor in how you feel every year after 70. Not just in your body, but in your bones, your joints, and your ability to move through life with strength and confidence. Let's talk about your bones and joints, because even though you might not think about them every day, they're working hard for you every time you sit, stand, reach, or walk. And the truth is, after 70, your bone density and joint flexibility quietly start to change every year. It doesn't happen with a big bang or a sudden snap. Most of the time, it's subtle. Maybe you feel a little stiffer in the mornings. Maybe your knees don't like the stairs the way they used to. Or maybe you've started noticing your posture isn't quite as upright as it once was. That's not just aging. It's the body asking for support. You see, around this age, our bones naturally begin to lose calcium and other vital minerals that keep them strong. And if we're not actively protecting our bone health, that loss accelerates. The danger here isn't just in the numbers, it's in the consequences. Fragile bones mean greater risk of fractures, and for older adults, even a minor fall can lead to major setbacks, both physically and emotionally. Now, I don't say that to scare you. I say it because the good news is this. There's a lot you can do to strengthen your bones and protect your joints, starting today. One of the most effective ways, weight-bearing movement. I'm not talking about lifting huge weights at the gym. It could be as simple as walking regularly, climbing stairs, doing light squats at home, or carrying your groceries instead of using a cart. These little moments of resistance tell your bones, hey, we still need you to be strong, and your body responds. A woman I spoke with, Linda, 73, told me she walks with light hand weights around her neighborhood every morning. At first, I did it to burn a few calories, she said, but now I realize I'm doing it to stay independent. That's the mindset. Movement isn't about weight loss. It's about strength. It's about being able to get up without help, go where you want, and feel steady doing it. But it's not just your bones. Your joints also need attention. These are the hinges that keep you mobile. And without enough flexibility and lubrication, they stiffen up like old door hinges in winter. That's why gentle stretching, yes, even just 5 minutes a day, can make such a difference, especially in the shoulders, hips, and knees. Yoga, Tai Chi, or simply reaching your arms above your head and touching your toes once a day. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent, because motion is lotion for your joints. The more you move them, the better they move for you. Now, if you've made it this far, I want to pause and say something important. Aging isn't something to be afraid of. It's something to understand, to move through with curiosity and care. You've lived decades. You've learned, you've loved, You've built a life, and now your body is changing. Yes, but that doesn't mean your story is over. Not even close. In fact, with every step you take to support your strength, your heart, your balance, your mind and your bones, you're writing the next chapter on your terms. Let's recap what we've covered in the simplest way possible. After 70, your body naturally starts losing muscle, your metabolism slows, your balance becomes more delicate, your heart works harder, your immune system quiets, your brain demands better care, and your bones and joints start asking for your attention. But none of these changes mean the end. They simply mean it's time to tune in more closely and respond with intention. That could mean a morning walk instead of staying on the couch. It could mean swapping out sugary snacks for a handful of nuts. It might mean stretching before bed or choosing water instead of soda. These aren't huge life overhauls. They're small, steady steps that build a stronger future. And here's what's most important. It's never too late to start. No matter what shape you're in right now, no matter how many birthdays have passed, your body is incredibly resilient. And every time you choose to move, to rest better, to eat well, to stay connected, you're slowing down the clock. You're telling your body, I still need you. Let's keep going. So I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you're going to try this week to support your body? Maybe it's stretching every morning. Maybe it's adding a 10-minute walk to your day. Maybe it's going to bed 30 minutes earlier. Drop it in the comments. I read every one, and I love hearing your stories. And if this video helped you feel even a little more motivated, give it a like and be sure to subscribe. We've got plenty more tips and encouragement coming your way to help you live with strength, dignity, and joy, no matter your age. Remember, aging isn't a downhill slide. It's a journey of wisdom, strength, and small victories. One thoughtful step at a time. And you're not just growing older, you're growing bolder. Here's to living your best life at any age.